Evening, ladies and gentlemen. You join me in the hills of Austria, where they are certainly alive, not with the sound of music, the sound of roaring engines, wheel-to-wheel action, and maybe a few squeaky bums here and there. It is, of course, Monday night here on CRL Tier 4, Season number 8, Round number 13, like I say, in the hills of Austria. I'm your regular host, CRL Freefall, and it's the return! The prodigal son is back in the comms booth with me. It's Mr. Lee O'Toole. Little Leroy is back himself to help me out tonight. How are you doing again, mate?
Oh, it's great to be back, Scott. I mean, honestly, I've missed those intros. Made me jump, but it's fine. Excited, though. Excited. It's been a while, I know, but we're back, and championship spiced up. Everything's spiced up. 4 hours to go. Nothing to lose now. So, I mean, exciting to see where it goes from here, but just happy to be back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's certainly since your last time on the YouTube channel, I suppose. Obviously, you were kind of out for Hungary, and then technical issues got the better of you. We have had 3 different race winners. Mark Wilson has finished no lower than second. SUFC has been on the podium once, and Victor Mean has had 2 thirds and a second. Which means, with 4 rounds left to go in this championship, 4 features technically, with a sprint weekend fired in there, 140 points available. Our top 3 are separated by 19. Mark Wilson is the first person to take the championship lead away from SUFC since I think about round 3. It's getting spicy, Lee. It really, really is getting spicy. You join us in for the first laps here in qualifying. Now, it's looking a bit grey, Lee, so we'll see if the rain is coming. I'm expecting a full dry session, get down to the mid to low 105s. But we're going to ride on board with last week's winner, BX37 Pro. He's been about in the community for a long, long time. Many names many people will know this man's name. He celebrated his birthday last Tuesday, and he celebrated it with a win from the back of the grid around Singapore, no less. What a performance it was from young Ben. He didn't win it on track, of course. Stewarding had its little input, but he kept it clean, he kept it sweet, and he kept it all the way to the finish line, Lee. A mighty strong performance. You know, his first time on the podium this season. 30 points. He's only on 82, and he got 30 of them last week. And he sets the first lap time, 6.331 here tonight. I don't know if you had a chance to see any of the races, Lee, but it was an interesting, chaotic one last week in Singapore. Maybe a little bit quieter here tonight. Tomo Tip-Top puts his car, Tomo Tip-Top, of qualifying at the standards. He, of course, Lee, you missed it. He won the Bahrain Grand Prix in quite handy fashion, it must be said. But I don't know how much you've seen, like I said. But then this man right here, he's been struggling in qualifying maybe the last 4 rounds. Mark Wilson, who just goes in 2 tenths behind him, has got pole the last 3 of the last 4. But it was Victor who put it in pole last week in Singapore, Lee. And he's back up there again. SUFC up there in 3. And look at that. Our 3 championship contenders in the top 3 already.
Yeah, it's great, you know. Around Austria, which is very... Well, I reckon it'd be very cold sometimes at times here, and hopefully in the race too. A lot of... As a Marshall, fair play to him, only... That's very close to him. I think it's just over 30,000 behind Victor Mean. Good, yeah, but Victor Mean... We said if you got a good run of results together, like one of the last times I was here, if you got a good run of results together, it'd be in that fight. Look at him now. It's great. A 3-way championship fight. At the end of the season, you start seeing the risky dive bombs, you know, all the drama that we know as commentators. So hopefully we get more, but hopefully it's clean.
Yeah, that's it. There's, like you say, the nerves and the pressure maybe starts to build, and you start maybe doing stuff you wouldn't do in other times because you are that bit more desperate. We are saying, of course, it's a 3-way championship battle. Mark Wilson, 217. SUFC 214, so 3 points separating those 2. Victor Mean in third, only 19 adrift on 198. But, you know, AFL's only 65 off the top. There is 140 available, so it's doable. It's unlikely. So that's why we are, of course, referring to just a 3-way championship battle. Marshall in 5th with 138 ahead of Wuban, Topher, Curley, BX37 Pro, and Trunders. Our top 10. Scooter Claim is P11, but he has sadly stepped down to reserve, so I believe we are trying to fill that seat. That's currently why there is only 19 on the grid tonight. Murphy, Tom Tip Top, Mean Man Moody, Spider Rob, DX Baker, Maverick, Hasblat, Ghost Angel 1, and Mighty Atom round off our table. iConnect, so a name that's not on there, dropped to reserve as well. He's back tonight, Lee, and I'll give you a little tidbit. He's in no assists tonight, and look at the time he's just fired in there.
Yeah, well, we know Zach pretty well. He likes to spin in races, so who knows? But I mean, I was just thinking, maybe you can fill the vacant seat for Tier 4, Scott. It might suit you a bit more.
Excuse me, I got, Victor Mean improves even further, a 105.4. We're already getting down to that low to mid 105s. Hold on, Lee. If it wasn't for some unsound strategy decisions last Thursday night, I would have picked up points in Tier 2 on Thursday. I would have
points. Yeah, but you're still more suited to Tier 4.
Oh, probably sane. Racecraft-wise, maybe. But, you're always suiting me.
Just skill-wise, you know, but I know, because if you drove Tier 4, I'd be here on my own, so it's okay.
Exactly.
It's a worthy compromise.
You're lucky you can't move across the wheel, because then you would be. We didn't have a tier low enough for you if you did that.
Ow! I'm okay on my pad, you know, because I can race wherever I want. I don't have to send about 20 minutes. Just getting ready for about an hour race. So, well, I'll probably spin on lap 1 anyway, so who really cares?
We'll wait and see, eh? Happens to the best of us. Big shout out to everybody up there in the chat tonight. Razorfy in with the Scotty and Lee. Lots of love hearts. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Up the Ferraris plus Sack with a little kiss. So we know who Razorfy is giving his support tonight. Me and Moody, he's on the track and in the chat. Good evening, let's all have a good race. And Danielle, our ever-present cheerleader, love to see you back again. Evening all, good luck, Mark. Also, Scott, by the way, I left the stream in a rage last week as Mark wouldn't do interviews. So I listened to the interviews after and had to say, I defo shot I should be in the mic when you're on. Yeah, so I suggest this, Lee, whenever you're not here, Danielle's always here. Perfect co-commentator. You know, reliability, second to none. I mean, she watches every race, she knows all the facts.
I feel like there'd be a bit of bias though, so...
you know, it is what it is. Trunder's in, we're riding on board with him, puts in his first lap of the session, 106.072. And like you said, Lee, tight session here, of course. It is a shorter track, especially when you compare it to Singapore. Last week, Mighty Atom goes P10 with a 106.476. As I say that, we compare it, you know, to Singapore last week. It's a damn bit shorter, this circuit, you know, only 2.8 miles long. It's about, like we're seeing here, a 104 or 105. So, in terms of racing, obviously, you'll know this, Lee, and I know this, but there might be somebody sitting at home that thinks, oh, I want to be educated by a Scotsman who's pretty poor at racing. The shorter the lap time, of course, there's less time to gain, there's less mistakes to make, there's less time to perfect a corners as such. So everything gets condensed down, it gets a little bit tighter, and seconds become tenths, tenths become hundreds, and hundreds become thousands, and that is exactly what we're seeing here tonight, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, all as Marshall spun coming out of turn 3 on the power there, but yeah, as you were saying, yeah, it does. I mean, this race I feel like so much nicer compared to Singapore. Singapore is just Singapore's weird, right? Because it's such a long track, but you race 31 laps of it, whereas like Belgium, which is just longer than that, you race 22 and 50%, so it makes more sense. But yeah, Austria, as you said, it's not. You can really only gain off the time in the middle sector. See, but that's where people will be going for themselves. Obviously, you might get people who favour the middle sector more, so you might go a bit less downforce to try and gain that time in the straights, and vice versa. But yeah, just it'd be very tight tonight, and that's another thing. But I reckon we could see, if people are equal on pace, we could see a good few cars in one big DRS train, which, depending on how you look at it, is good or not good.
I mean, I'd love to see a nice, maybe a 5-6 battle. I've seen this before in the infamous HRL leagues that's no longer around there. Of course, our former champions domain. Lap 3 around here. 9 cars within half a second on the run-up to turn 3. Hasbula just improved his time and goes within 300s of BX37 Pro. As I was saying, that Mark Wilson, though, I never seen that lap coming.
There we go, he's here. I mean, me and you did say it's hard season. If he got his form together and got maybe less penalties and less speed, he'd be up there. This is why me and you are just the goats.
The
No?
absolute goat. I don't know, maybe the goats. The Jamie's up there as well, and Jonathan. And
We
Rob.
love everyone.
Let's
We
let's
love everyone.
let's get a look at our commentator on the grid. Spider Rob, of course, tier 2 commentary. It's a nice, unique relationship we had this season. He gets to commentate me, and I get to commentate him. Both of us maybe not having the best of season. It must be said. We've openly both admitted that, but he'll be looking to bounce back around a track like this. Touching back to what you're saying as well, yeah, like setups is going to be crucial here, Lee. You see here we're on board with Rob. You've got this long straight. The third in a row essentially. You've got the start finish straight, the straight between 1 and technically 3 it is, I suppose. You've got that little kink halfway up that technically counts as 2, and then of course the one from 3 down to 4. But in this middle sector that we see him going through here, you've got this sort of medium speed, I would almost class it as left-hander, then the left into the quick right, and then the final 2, which are pretty quick double right-handers. So it is all about finding a balance. And sometimes it's all about who's the bravest, who's going to push those lines that little bit wider, who's going to take that little bit more entry speed into some of these corners, who's going to brake slightly later into turn 3 and get on the throttle slightly earlier on the exit. And that is the only kind of places you make up the time round here, and that is where we're seeing the difference. It maybe isn't a case of massive setup difference at all. It could just be who's being a little bit braver, who's pushing the boat out and just saying, let's send this right now.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the beauty of it, that's why we love it. Especially in Austria, it's always tense with thousands in it, and that's why you have to be perfect. I mean, you have a great lap and the last 2 corners ruin your lap, so you just never know, but you can get on from the last one as well. It's the beauty of it. Let's just see up to the line, he's only P3, he is still 3/10 off Marcos, so as you have seen, he's been a bit unlucky recently from what I've seen. So hopefully he will get back, hopefully he won't get as bad, but yeah, as you were saying, just the smallest margins can decide not just this race but the championship as well. So we'll be here for it, which is great.
Absolutely, yeah. Those that have been around and know maybe some of the history, there's been plenty of championships decided by singular incidents, singular overtakes. It really does come down to the smallest of fractions. Just an SUFC there. A good lap, improved by 3 tenths. I did notice I was on board with him through turn 9. It was what we're talking about, these little mistakes. He didn't quite hit the apex, run a little bit wide, had to compromise his mid-corner speed in his exit to not extend like Trundles maybe did there. And
yeah, we didn't see that, Scott. Let's just move on. We didn't see that.
Yeah, that's a possible extension and a possible illegal lap there. That might be one that the stewards take action on. If it is, I'm sorry, Trundles, but I'm just doing my job, is pointing the camera at you.
That's his job.
I've had it done to me before. Jonathan, cool dude boy, absolute menace. Anytime I tried to bend or mix the rules, he always caught me. Terrible that. I hate that.
That's what Johnny's there for. Yeah, I know, show some bias in that,
I think if I extend through Raskas or, whatever, I think it should be alright.
Yeah, I agree, just cut the whole track.
Yeah, exactly. Straight line turn 1, easy chores.
Put no rules on. Let him finish the lap. No one else can do it. If they do, they're disqualified. Scott wins his race for the first time in forever.
First time. I've only actually ever won one race in CRL history. Tier 4, round 3.
I'm not shocked by that.
Season 4.
I'm not shocked by that. Victor mean. Oh, sorry, Dave. What you used 2 tenths up, and I'm gonna sector and he invalidated. Sick
fine margins once again.
Yeah, it was literally, he went like a centimetre wide, it wasn't even that far. I thought it was still valid, but obviously it wasn't. But Marcos,
it can be a bit finicky here, it must be said.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say, Mark Wilson?
No, I was just, he started lap and I think made a mistake in turn 1 and then he's going to go for it again, so.
The thing is, he's got 3 minutes left, so he can't really get into the pits and back out. He's got the pole time. There's no point pushing to try and make up a margin bit in the middle sector when you're already down. He's going for the mother of all laps here, I can feel.
Yes.
While that was going on, BX37 Pro improved on his lap, got himself into the top 8 and into the 105s. Murphy is on a lap. I've got a little bit of stats here as well. Murphy, I think he's had one fastest lap this season.
Man, Murph.
Never got into the podium. He's been close to pole a few times, and his race
Oh,
pace
Mark
is either.
Sorry, he's just spun out with turn one. No damage. So if you wanted to go again, he could, but I doubt the fuel. Well,
Fuel could be an issue. Tyres could be an issue as well. He's already that'll be his third lap plus an out lap. So it might be a little bit marginal. Murphy, purple sector 2. He is a 10th.5 up in his time with the final sector still to go. Tom Tip Top retires in the pits, the second car to do so. Going into the final couple of turns, he does.
Murphy, if you saw that,
he does run wide.
Oh, it's
actually
a good lap.
It was a brilliant
Murphy.
lap.
No, I feel so bad because I doubt we gained that much from that lap, from going wide. So I reckon it would have been P3 anyway, but caught red-handed.
Caught red-handed indeed. I believe that was Icon next. No assist, first race up into P4. Spider Rob is just rounding the final corner to start his final run. Mark Wilson, he has saved up the battery, like you say, is going again. Victor Mean on an out lap. Where's SUFC? He's just starting a lap.
Yep. Mark Wilson out with turn one. He has an Alpine ahead of him, which could give him some machine, but also I think the Alpine on the lap as well, so it could hinder him. Up into turn 3, that Alpine might get in the way. He's already a 10th down, I think all tyres. Alpine to go to SFC. He's 8,300 up, so he's improving, which is what he needs to do at the moment. It's all he can really do, and hope Victor Mean doesn't improve. Mark Wilson down at the moment, he has the Alpine ahead with, I think, he's going to block him. No, he gets out the way. He does get out the way. Maybe, I think actually gave him a little bit of slipstream, wasn't in the way that much, so that actually was really nice. I think that was Adam. It was Adam, yeah, so.
Yeah, I think I noticed.
Oh, he's round.
I think I noticed in the approach to 3 that Alpine did have a flashing red light, so. But yeah, Mark Wilson just showing there that the old tyres getting a bit too much. FUFC, like you say, coming through the second sector into these last couple of corners where we've seen him lose a bit of time in his latter tip. That's a better apex, a better mid-speed.
Oh, no! Oh, no, he's about it. And then Victor Mean has a chance. He's up by 300 in the first setup, but he's gone wide as well. Everyone getting to the crunch end, and they can't seem to handle the pressure. SFC, no, I think he would have had it. If he gets the final 2 corners, he gains so much time. So much time.
I think he was on it. You think he was on it. He only needed just over 3 tenths, and I think he was on for a shout. Curley, let's get a look at him. We haven't seen much of him this qualifying session. He is very low on the ERS, up to the line. Does improve and goes P12 for his qualifying session.
Victor Mean's down to Mark Wilson, unless there's a massive lap from someone is going to maintain Paul.
Wuban up to P12. Tofar up to the line. Stays in 16. Victor Mean stays in P2. And it looks to be a Mark Wilson pole position. It'll be 4 out of 5 for Mark Wilson, unless Ben has something to do with it, or Rob. Neither can do it. I think the only man that can change it is AFL, or Manny into the pits, so it won't be happening, and that is qualifying Lee. And controversial, shall we say.
Yeah, quite controversial indeed, but well, nothing controversial about the top 2, I know Victor Mean and Mark Wilson. I think that just kind of proves the last lap you get the pressure, so Mark Wilson doing his lap maybe under a little bit less pressure. Now when you had another few laps, like maybe 1-2 laps to get the lap in, did well. Victor Mean and SFC were up, but SFC's mistake is costly. P5, he's behind Icon and Murphy, who, well, Murphy might have Red Pen coming as well, but those guys aren't all slouches, and you know they're not championship fight, so they have no reason to let anyone near their hands, so they won't be just letting the boy. So SFC will have it tough, but if anyone can do it, he can.
I tell you what, though, that top 4 fills me with a bit of national pride. Mark Wilson takes pole position by 52 thousandths ahead of championship rival Victor Mean. 19 points, separate these two. Mark has, relatively speaking, the last 4 races, Mark has finished 1 position ahead of Victor Mean. That's 3 seconds for Mark, 3 thirds for Victor, 1 win for Mark, and 1 second for Victor. And they line up in a similar situation on the grid here today. Murphy technically gets P3. There might be an investigation into that. We'll go no further on that. Zach, no assists, P4. Great showing from him. SUFC in this championship fight, P5. Marshall, Trundles, BX37 Pro. Tommy Tip Top, Spider Rob, run off the top 10. Apologies to those in the bottom 9. I kind of rambled on, never quite got to it. But Lee, this sets us up for an almighty battle. Like you say, SUFC down in P5. We know he has got great racing ability. He's won 4 races this season. He's came third 4 races. That's out of 12, bear in mind. So 8 out of 12 he's been on the podium. And I think he missed 2. I think definitely last week he was raced. He was P9, P10. And there was definitely another one. But
I think he missed 1, and then the other 3, I think.
Maybe just 1. So, but
It
either
might have been 2, I'm not sure though.
8 out of 10 or 8 out of 11 races on the podium, we know he's got the ability to, no matter where he qualifies, because he's not had a great amount of pole positions. He's only had a single pole position to get that car into the high-paying positions. Mark Wilson, as we've spoken about before, I've commentated over this driver for a number of seasons, and he's always had pace. This season, he's having pace, consistency, confidence, and just a good level of wheel-to-wheel drivability, which is, everything you need for a championship pull together. And Victor Mean, again, another driver that's just improving every single week. So you couldn't pick between any of the 3. And then you fire in Zach, he's got ability to race at a higher level. He really could.
I mean, if he just was allergic to spin, then he'd be fine.
Yeah. Exactly. He's a bit like myself. Keep it going in a straight line, he'd be fine. Same with Murphy. Murphy's got pace, just a little inconsistency here and there. And then you've got other, you've plenty of podium sitters on this grid. Trunders, Wuban, AFL, Curly, Spider Rob, who else? Marshall, of course, has won a race here this season. There is so many of these drivers, especially around a circuit like this, that could really get into the mix. And, they might be out of the championship fight, but there's still that coveted Constructors' Championship on the ball. And we know what this is likely. We've all been in these leagues races before, me and you. You get the little bit of interpersonal rivalry. Maybe you're in P12, somebody's in P11. You get on quite well with them. I'm going to beat you. That Aston Martin's not wasting any time.
Yes, well, I have seen we have a very big mix in strategies. I'll walk you through them. So Marcos and Poster on mediums. Victor Mean over the hard tyres. So he wants to play the longer game. Murphy and medium tires, so that could be something for Mark Wilson. Hope he gets a jump on. Then Zach and SUFC on hards. So interesting. Championship leader going for the mediums. These 2 closest rivals are going on to the hard tires. So that would be a difference in strategy. I am Marshall at 60s on mediums, and Trunders going for the soft tires. I think Trunders just wants to, steal the spotlight away from everyone, and you know what? I respect it. Ben, Tomato and Rob on mediums, AFM, Wuban on hards, Curly on mediums, Hasbunga on hards, Atom on mediums, Topher and Mooney on hards, DS Baker on mediums, and then Maverick right now on softs. But I do want to say one thing. I think teammates. Now I'm not sure. I know the two alpha males obviously is on a part of the team as well. They have a good relationship with their teammates. I reckon teammates. If you have a good partnership with your teammate and they're quick enough in some races, that could be a big part of the championship as well. If you think one position lower, it's very close championship. So even one position lower for one of the drivers could cost them dearly. So I think teammates could have something key to do in the championship.
Absolutely, like you say, not just in the sense of I'm ahead of you, you need the points, let me by. They can also hold up the opposition.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're in P2, your championship rival's in P5, and your teammate's in P4, maybe they'll stick out an extra lap and just let them wear out a little tyres, let a bit of lose time. This has been a very quick formation lap because it's a strictly short circuit, but Hasbula, obviously it wasn't quick enough for him. He just decided he was going to go do his own thing and took off like a rocket. We're enjoying it, watching that. But they're going to line up here on the grid tonight, Lee. 36 laps ahead of us. Like you say, a mix of strategy. All 3 soft tyre compounds in play. The soft runners maybe gambling for an early-ish safety car. Maybe there's some rain on the way. Who knows? it's not unlikely here in the Austrian Alps. It's definitely a possibility. That Mercedes, by the way, is
here we go.
that's an interesting box from Victor Mean, but it's going to be 5 red lights, Lee, and we're going to be underway for round 13, season 8 here in Tier
SFC,
4.
oh my god.
SFC getting a good start. Iconix getting a good start down the inside. There's a little bit of dirt flung up as one of the cars goes on the gravel. Victor Mean forced wide over the curb, and the first 4 or 5 all through. SUFC ahead of Murphy Tomo Tip Top, bringing it up in that Alfa Romeo sandwich, and it looks as if the front runners have got away pretty incident free, but the mid pack to the backfield.
Yeah, there's been lots of contact at the back. I actually couldn't tell you who it was. There's too many cars, but I'm not sure if anyone was damaged. I think everyone might escape with damage, but there's lots of portion on track there. The 2 Alfa Romeos side by side into turn 4. SFC fight the team at Tom and Tip not being team orders. Maybe he's on the medium tires, maybe SFC should let him go and hoping he can fight the other 2 ahead of him. They're still fighting here. SFC is still not giving up. He's still going for it. He gives it up now though. So now Tom and Tip can go after his rival, but here comes Iconix into penultimate corner. No, he backs out, yeah, but Mark Wilson doing the best thing he could, getting a good start, and now it's like, oh, if you can clear DRS out on this track, it's very hard to get back into it if you don't have a clear pace advantage. So Mark Wilson, if you break that DRS, it could be a great race for him, but yeah, just chaos at the back.
Yeah, a big gap formed from BX37 Pro. It's closed up a little bit now over the course of that first lap, but big point there, of course. DRS coming in on lap 3. And it is, Lee, we've seen it time and time again, these Tier 4 drivers, they like to use their ERS from the get-go. There's no real heavy braking points here. There's no real ample opportunity to regain a bit of battery charge. So that could be a key factor here tonight. Tomo Tip Top going down the inside of Iconix, makes a little bit of contact, but gets the move done fairly uneventfully. Little bit of contact, just drifting out wide under the acceleration of the corner, but both cars make it through unscathed. He'll be trying to hunt down the 1.3 seconds to the 2 in front. Trundles keeping in this middle pack. Soft tyres for him at the start of this Grand Prix. He will be looking to pick apart the few in front as AFL, the other McLaren, has had a spin near the back. Mark Wilson putting in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 8 tenths clear of Victor Mean.
Yep, the front 2 have seen to get out DRS now, and I reckon I could pull away here if they don't close the gap soon, because I reckon that these 3 have Tom Tip Top, Iconix, and SUC are going to start fighting, and obviously there's still a training down to Iron Marshall, so I could get tight here, but yeah, Victor Mean doing what he can do, sticking with Mark Wilson on the hards at the moment, but he's teetering on the edge of that DRS, so he'd be hoping he can just see with him now. But the tyres aren't, obviously the performance of the tyres isn't too big right here, it's more the wear. As Trundles getting my SSC down to 6, it has not been a good start for him. I said he needed a bit of luck on his side. He got a great start, but then seemed to get bogged down a little bit, and now down to P6. He needs to try and get some consistency and try and get back up the position. Obviously, fighting his teammate didn't help, but down to 6, and despite being many positions behind, he's only about 2 seconds behind the front 2. So
yeah, he's not a great deal off the front 2. His championship rivals, and he has got the advantage. SUFC is on the hards. It gives you that little bit more flexibility, gives you that little bit more pace towards the end of the Grand Prix. And like you say, the tyres, there isn't all much difference between a lap time and a soft, medium, hard here. It's just the wear over time. The softs will be a little bit quicker to begin with, and then they will tighten up again. You can see that there with Trundles getting a much better exit out of turn 1 on the leading Alpha Tauri of IRT Iconix. Connects, like we say, he's on the no assist for the first time. I have noticed he's maybe struggling a little bit with his braking points, but he'll not be long getting settled in and maybe become more of a competitor towards the end and mid-stint of this Grand Prix. DRS, of course, now enabled here, Lee. 3 DRS zones here in Austria, so plenty of chance to use it, and just goes on to sort of reaffirm what you said there about how powerful and how crucial it is to stay within the 1 second. Murphy having another torrential race, it must be said. Started P4, is already down into the back portion of the grid, and McLaren, it's just not been their day so far.
No, but the front 2 have gone. Victor Mean There's 1.7 compared to Tip Top. I said the DRS is a big factor to play. It is having a big factor, and see, safety cars, as we know, they are like it's kind of 50-50 because the walls are far enough away where you can spin and hit them, but also it's very easy to go into them as well. So it's a bit of a mix, and you know what safety cars in this game, they could come out for nothing. But SFC might need one here because he's quite a way behind them. That's the point where they've got a good few cars to get to them, to get to the front, who seem to have just more pace. And what I'm seeing, Mark Wilson is not on 10% already. It's a miracle.
Now, you're doing the man discredit. It must be said that the ERS management over the last few weeks, I've been a bit more impressed. It has been a bit more steady and using it at the more opportune times. So the drivers are obviously learning that. It is, you know, they're on the lower side, but they're using that at the start of the Grand Prix, and fair enough. SUFC, like you say, he is in that mid-pack. He'd be hoping that maybe Trunders could use his softs and Tobo Tip Top could use his mediums to try and pull the pack up. But he needs to be careful, like you say. He wants to try and get through them if they're slowing him down, but he doesn't want to lose too much time by unnecessarily fighting. It's all about finding a balance. Victor Mean, though, great job from the Mercedes driver, just hanging in the tail end of the DRS of the Red Bull. He's in the hards, Mark on the mediums, so it's going to be a long haul for them. FGFC trying it once again. And
Trunders did not want to leave any room on the inside there.
No, leaving him barely enough just to get the move done. A couple of times, that's the second time in 2 laps SUFC has tried to make the move into turn 3 and it's not come through. It is a very, very opportunistic overtaking, I suppose you could say, Lee. You've got to be brave in the brakes, you've got to be brave in the throttle, and you've got to get it perfect to sometimes make the move stick, but it can throw up a bit of action. Safety cars as well, you're talking about. It can happen. Final corner is a very easy place to spin it at times. We're just seeing SUFC and Co coming through there. You can lose it on those curbs, end up on the wall on the left-hand side of your screen. Similar situation on the exit of turn 1 and very similar on the exit of turn 3 as well.
I have some news. Mark Rosen has broken the DRS to Victor Mean.
Ample time for him.
And Victor Mean has only 2% ERS at Marcus 30 odds. So Mark Wilson at the moment in a very good position. Still a long way to go though, so.
Long way to go. Strong position, of course. Victor Mean hasn't got that battery to try and pull back into DRS. He's going to start losing time to Mark in front. Yes, that pendulum of speed will sort of swing back to Victor Mean towards the end of the Grand Prix if it is an uneventful one with no safety cars. He'll be in the mediums, Mark will be in the hards, and Victor will have the not just the life advantage because he'll be on newer mediums, but it's also mediums, a softer compound. So it really is a strategic battle between these two today. The next 4 or 5, however, very, very tactical battle going on. A matter of about 1.6, 1.7 separates P3 from P7. They're all in a nice little tier 1, tier 1 proud DRS train.
No, we're not proud of that. We don't like getting tier 1.
This is the kind of thing that you see in tier 1 though when it's really close racing. Icon next gets the move done, lovely on Tobo Tip Top. FGSC gets the move side by side with Tobo Tip.
He's spun, it isn't going well for him at the moment, is it? He can't get a break. Really can't get a break. Ben spun as well. I'm not sure if Ben just saw SFC and, I don't know, pooped his pants a little bit, but SFC, what does he need to do to get a bit okay? That wasn't, it was a weird one. Turn 1's a weird corner to go down. It is very risky. It tightens a little bit. Maybe it wasn't the smartest idea. From what I've seen, Trunders was wide enough. I think SFC got a bit too optimistic on the brakes there. I think he wanted to get that position, obviously be stuck behind him. Maybe Trunders being a bit naughty in terms of turning. Oh, it's Tomo Tito's one as well, but sorry. Yeah, I think SFC being a bit, Trunders, sorry, being a bit rude in terms of turning. So SFC maybe wanted to just push his way past, but obviously couldn't, and now it's cost them. That's what I said, these small decisions, small margins could have big implications. This Iconex is pushing now.
Absolutely, like you say, these little things really make all the difference. Iconex putting in the fastest lap, he's starting to hunt down Victor Mean ahead of him. Tomo Tip Top into the pits, losing his front wing in the process, gets a 5-second penalty for his sins while he's at it. SFC maybe a little bit impatience creeping in, thinking he had the overspeed with the DRS. It's unfortunate, but like I said, we know he's got the ability, he's got this pace. He just needs to settle into a rhythm now and try and bring himself back in. It is, of course, every point does count, but there is still 140 available to each and every one of these drivers going into the remainder of the season. So not all is lost. But with that little incident, it just shows you how little it takes to split the cars up here. We had a big gaggle of cars, 5 and 6 together, and now there's barely one within a second within the top half of the field. There is a little train from P9 downwards, however. Yellow flags for Tom Tip Top again.
I'm watching this battle between the 9th to 13th. There's the lack of space given is interesting, I'll say that much.
It is. It really elbows out. Well, as long as it's fair and legal, I don't mind a little bit elbows out racing Trundles. Trundles into the pits then. Interesting strategy from him. Maverick doing the same into the pits. Trundles, though, from the softs onto the mediums, they will struggle to go towards the end, so maybe banking on some sort of late rain or maybe a late safety car.
Yeah, I think a safety car, which I mean isn't always. I can actually spawn. No, he has spun it. He caught it. The lose out to Iron Marshal. Zach, you scared me there for a minute, lad. Please, just keep on track.
Iconex makes the catch then, saves the car, but has to lose about 2 seconds and a position. He'll be able to settle back in behind the medium runner of I Am Marshall, formerly known as IR Marshall. Mixing it up a little bit for us just to confuse me once again. But these top 4, 6-second gap to the cars and the rest of the field behind. A couple of battles raging on then. P3 at the moment. The battle for P8 as it stands with Trundle in the pits. Tofar looks to have had a spin on the exit of turn 8-7, I believe it is, off the top of my head. Yes, it is. 7 or 8, one of the two. Of course, there is only 10 corners here in Austria. It's a fairly easy one to remember. Not many names though, Lee. There's not many names for us to mispronounce tonight.
Thank the Lord. No, not many names for you to mispronounce. I don't say the names.
You don't even attempt them, to be fair. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I.L. Marshall, interesting to note as well. It seems to be slowly catching on Victor Mean. Loses out a little bit here and there, and then gains it back throughout, and seems to slowly be reaping it in. But once again, we've seen it last week, folks. The safety cars came out. Victor Mean had his 3 seconds, and it looked to be costing him everything. Mark Wilson picked one up late last week, and that gifted Ben a P2 on track before Victor got a penalty for post-race from the stewards. So Victor maybe...
Mark Wilson... No, he's sorry, he's running a little bit wide there. He lost a few tenths, but I thought he was going to spin. Didn't spin, thankfully, and it's all right. But I do want to say, Mark Wilson at the moment, we said how difficult this track is in terms of warnings, right? We know he's a bit infamous for that. At the moment, he's no warnings.
He's doing that. He has been improving on that, it must be said. He's been improving on that until the safety cars come out late, and it's been the last minute 2 times this season getting him a pen that's cost him the win. Of course, Portugal and Singapore. Early on in the race, he is very good, but maybe when it starts to get that little bit elbows is out, you're fighting for the final positions, and the tyres start to wear off. That's maybe when it creeps in. But Victor Mean, a third of the race into this, third of the way, into this race, has picked up his first penalty, and he's lost it on the mid part of turn 8 into the wall, and that is... It doesn't look to be front wing damage. I am mightily surprised with that. That was a full head-on into the wall. We'll see if he does jump into the pits here.
I think he will, yeah. Is he?
He definitely is, yeah. He's got
I think he just kept it in the white lines. No, even if he didn't, I think he...
Oh, an SUFC! Sorry, Lee has lost it on the final. I just switched to that in time to see him go head-on. And that is the worst place to lose your front wing, because you've got a full lap. You have got to go a full...
And the worst thing for him is, like, he's in this train of down to 12th as well, who are all fighting. Oh, he's almost got caught up in the SUFC, and he has no wing. Oh my... Well, in a matter of seconds, Mark Wilson has gone from being chased down to being this battle in the midfield. I'm not sure if you're watching it.
It's nutty. There's
It's
so many cars.
Oh my god!
Oh, Spider Rob's nearly lost it. DS Baker's lost it in the exit of turn 3.
Oh
There's about
my.
19,000 cars within 2 miles.
What do we just see? SGFC getting 3 positions by having no wing. Oh my god, has boom up.
Spider Rob goes deep. Mighty Atom sneaks on back through. Murphy has done a pit stop. He's had a spin. He's not done a pit stop. I was about to say he's back in. He's now looking on the rear of Spider Rob, trying to get something back from this race.
Here comes Atom down the inside of SGFC. Oh, SGFC holds it around the outside for a long enough time, and then it gets overtaken. Yeah, sorry, a bit off topic, Dave, but Mark Rosen's been he's not been gifted a race win, but he's been handed a big opportunity to get a race win and to gain some huge points. I remember both of those guys, his times are Roberts in 17, and being probably around the same position. That means he gained 30 points on him at the moment. 30 with 3 rounds to go is a big margin.
It would make us lead to 33 over SUFC and 59 over Victor Mean. Of course, going into Mexico, 3 rounds left, 31 points available every normal feature round, and then of course a sprint race in Mexico next weekly. Definitely gives the extra 6 points available. Big shout out to everybody still in the chat. Dean Riordan, or Jerry as we like to affectionately call him, 2 of the best commentators about, and then he said, oh, and I won't say the next word, this isn't hedging, Mark, my bad. How dare you? How dare you, Jerry? I always get out. BX37 Pro, is it? Oh, there was somebody's had a spin. I think it's the lap car of Maverick having a little bit of a spin there. Hasbula is chasing down at BX37 Pro. As BX37 Pro does jump into the pits and destroy any chance of that battle happening. Trundles, interestingly, has already pit. He's back up to P7.
2-stop strategy isn't that bad for him at all, seems like. Well, as if he's doing a 2-stop. We'll see. Is Iconesh going for it on Iron Marshall into turn 4. All this contact, but it was clean enough. Marshall stays on track and connects up in the P2 now. But yeah, a few drivers starting to make their pit stops now. I reckon we'll see Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson needs to just stay as Maverick's been qualified. Mark Wilson needs to stay at the consistent pace. Even let's say I don't take any risks because any points gained now is a massive. Obviously, he wants to win. I understand that, but any points gained, whether it's P2, whatever, any points gained, how far down the 2 drivers at Robs are is mega, especially only 3 rounds to go.
Oh, absolutely. When you're in a situation like this, you've got a chance to gain points at all. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. It's big, but there is that sense of. If he came second, say, and he got 24 points instead of 30, and he lost the title by 4 points, 5 points, you'd be kicking yourself. So I don't expect him to just lie down early if somebody does challenge him for the win.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying maybe if it's last lap he's fighting for a win, he won't go for that big send. The other people on the grid might go for
We'll wait and see with that. Trundles gets past Hasbula for P6 on the 6th lap old mediums versus 15 lap old hards. Medium runners still going out here. Of course, we know they can easily make about half race distance. They are going to be marginally slower than the hards now, which we've seen by example. Iconex and Marshall battering out for P2. So it's going to be all about pulling the trigger. When Mark Wilson, race leader, has pulled the trigger. When has he pulled it? Right about now, Lee. Onto the hards to the end. Marshall follows him in. Curley, the next of the medium runners, looks to be doing the same from P5. Trundles then will come home, or come through, sorry, and should be around about P3. It depends how quick of an outlap and how much traffic he's been held up within, of course.
No, I think actually Marshall and Mark Wilson will be ahead of him. No, him and Marshall will be coasting out on the exit. Trundles does get him just about, and Hasbula might have him as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, Mark Wilson in the clean air has to get the sign up quickly and has to start pushing. But Hasbula is he doesn't go for a move. Thinks better over it, but he goes very deep into turn 3, off track. But yeah, Mark Wilson just doing what he needs to do, getting in early enough, where it isn't too risky on tyres, but still kept a solid gap at Iconix and now can push on those hard tyres into the end. But so he should have normal tyre wear worries.
Yeah, he should. He'll easily make those hards run all the way to the end. Trundle, so of course on the mediums might catch him up and, you know, maybe get a bit of wheel-to-wheel action here, and that could be playing in his mind ever so slightly. One thing to worry out. Marshall and Hasbula are battling it out. Of course, Hasbula still yet to pit. Has the worn tyres, but he does have the warm tyres. Yep, worn and warm going at both hand in hand, and counteracting, balancing the difference in the age with just that extra bit of grip. But now Marshall going to have the tyre set up. It was very, very wide and pushing racing, but I would say it was fair and clean enough. Further on back, you've got Victor Mean. He's charging back up through the field. 3-second time penalty, of course, for him. He's got his teammate in front of him, Mean Moody, who does pull over to the left and seems to be just saying, yep, that's a lovely bit of teamwork there, it must be said.
That's the power of the two Scotsmen in one team, but Victor Mean on the medium tyres, I don't see them making it to the end.
Two Scotsmen in one team? Hold on, Mean Moody might have something to say about that.
Oh wait, is he not Scot? Oh.
No, the two Means on the team, you mean?
Yeah.
It's a mean team at Mercedes.
I'm surprised that hasn't come up a lot sooner, to be honest with you. I'm surprised it's taken us to round 12.
13.
Considering we add 13.
Sorry mate, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. But yeah, Victor Mean chasing it back up through the field. Marshall, looking at a pretty good position. He's been fairly quiet for the first stint, it must be said. Qualified up in that top 10. Gained a few positions on the initial couple of laps and is now trying to hunt down and chase. He only is really 3.1 seconds off Mark Wilson on the same strategy. So, you know, I'm not going to commentators curse it, but it has been Mark's demons at times. The 3 second
Don't say it. I know he's going to get one and lose the race, Casino. It's your fault. It's Mean. Then the inside. Trying to make another move past AFL, who gets the switch back on him. We have DRS and has the superior ERS. AFL not pitting yet, but he's coming back from Victor Mean, who defends to the inside. I'm not sure if I have too much defence for it, but he does. Into turn 4, they make a little bit of contact, wheel banging there. AFL sent a bit wide, and Victor Mean holds the position for now as I can exit in. Now this will be interesting. Where will these two come out?
I'd just like to say, Harry Palmer, please do not invite the whole of Cone during a league race. It can be very off-putting for some of the drivers. Anyway, yeah, we'll see how that all comes out with iConnect. Jacob said he's very happy and proud of my joke. Mark Wilson then coming down the start-finish straight up to the line. You can see that it's going to be very tight.
Oh, he just gets him.
But of course now, Lee, iConnect on the fresh mediums, 3-lap newer tyres, and a compound softer.
And he has a lot superior ERS as well.
Absolutely. And he can just sit in that DRS and charge it up if he needs to, or he can let it go. He can get on by and try and pull out a gap. So iConnect's looking in a very strong position. Trundles, of course, likely going to have to pit again unless he can stretch those mediums out to 26 laps old. Still in a similarly strong position, and maybe the undercut and using the two softs and a set of mediums, it might play out for him. And of course, if a safety car does rear its notorious head, well, all the better for him. Wuban, though, leads the pack at the moment, 8.4 seconds. He has still got to pit, does the Haas. But, you know, like I say, safety cars could come into it. A virtual safety car could be all he needs to really pull himself into this. 20 laps on the hard. Do you think he's maybe rolling the dice here, Lee, and saying, I'm going to take these hards as long as I can, and if a safety car comes out, I'll pit then?
Yes, I think he is. I mean, there's nothing to lose. I think he was in... Most of was in about P11 and P12, so no point. I mean, might as well take a risk. Surprisingly, we only had one retirement so far, touch wood. So we'll see what happens here, but I can actually go on for it on Mark Wilson. He's not weighing about at all. He goes to the inside into turn 4, and I can actually, as he's taking the lead, he goes deep into the corner, but he'll have the traction already. No, Mark Wilson coming back at him. Into turn 5 now, Mark Wilson on the outside, iConnect on the inside. Mark Wilson holds it around the outside, iConnect has the better grip on the inside line though. They're still side by side, and Mark Wilson has to concede, iConnect into the lead, and it can now shoot off into the distance.
Lovely little side-by-side battle there from turn 4, 5, 6 into 7. Nice little bit of racecraft there, and like you say, Iconex is the race leader now. His first race using no assists. You can see once he gets settled into a rhythm, especially, he is a mighty quick driver. And dropped down from tier 3. Had a full-time seat, had some other commitments come up, and he's back as a reserve tonight. And I think if he'd had this kind of performance and this sort of maybe availability earlier on in the season, particularly, could have been another one up there on the championship fight. But he's hunting for his maiden win tonight in tier 4, and I must say he's looking very good for it. 1.7 seconds the gap already, Lee. We're only halfway through the lap, and now Mark Wilson's attention must turn from in front back to behind again. Trundles, he's on the verge of that 1 second gap. That's the verge of being within DRS. And then you look slightly further back. Marshall. The gap between Marshall and Mark Wilson, a couple of laps after the pit stop, 3 seconds. It's now down to 2.3. It's tightening up. It's getting a little bit tighter. A little bit closer. A little bit just... Oh, anything could happen here.
Oh, Victor Mean again. Well, I was just about to say that he's putting himself back up in the P5, but in fairness to him, AFL behind us are penalties, and then currently is 6 seconds back. So I think he should be fine in terms of behind though. It's more ahead of him. He has good pace. As Wuban comes out, he's in P6. So going long has been so well for him, and he's in that P5 obviously. His mediums he can push to the end. His mediums will not have any bad wear on them. He can push to the end now. Trunders is still debatable whether he has to pit or not. I
would say there's no way he's taking 26 laps on the medium. So and Victor Mean as well, probably in a similar situation. So Wuban effectively net P4 at the moment, doing that 22 lap stint on the hards, making the overcut work, clean air, not getting caught up battling drivers that maybe just a poor qualifying from the Haas saw him out of position. He's got the pace and he's picking it up back through. There's a mighty battle going on down through the bottom pack of this field. Murphy and Hasbulla going wheel to wheel through turn 4. Mighty Atom and Toba Tip Top going wheel to wheel. Hasbulla trying down the inside into 6. That'll turn to the inside to 7. Murphy gets the inside of 8 and stays ahead. The fast right-hander of 9 and then 10 coming up. Hasbulla has a little look down the inside. It's never a corner you're going to try and overtake. It's all about getting the setup for the straight down into turn 1. And these pair are caught up to the rear of Topher and Spider Rob. There's a car of BX37 Pro not too far up the road, and we've almost got a 5-car train here from P10 down. Dragon on Speed, thank you for the invite to play Grand Theft Auto, but I'm currently commentating Tier 4. Murphy and Hasbulla almost coming together. I don't think Hasbulla had really much ability to go for that move around the outside. Murphy going for a better exit, and in fact has done that to get a move on Topher now on the run down to turn 4. The McLaren going down the inside of the Ferrari and gets the move done.
Great battles.
Brilliant. I mean, and this is for P12. This is the final points paying position. Mean Moody has had a spin. BX37 Pro picks up a penalty, and Trunders and Victor Mean are into the pits.
Now Wuban can try. I know it's a long gap, but you can try and chase in that podium. 8.8 seconds. You never know what can happen. But Mark Wilson has seen. Now hopefully, I can actually stay connected to the lead.
Hey.
I'm sorry. Yeah, had to get my joke in there. Now we're even. But yeah, hopefully for Mark Wilson, he doesn't spin. And Iron Marshall could be looking at P2. His pace. I said he's been quiet. They haven't spoken about much. He's had a very strong showing today. So is Wuban. Wuban started, I think. Let me check. Actually, he started in P12.
P12, and he's up to P4, and this is a P4 on merit. There's been no safety cars, there's been nothing that's jumbled up the positions a little bit. Marshall, like you say, had a very quiet first stint. He made a couple of positions, kept it smooth, kept it clean, kept it on the track, and it's turned around in that his pace in the hards is so much quicker than Mark. I wonder I just wonder, is Mark slowing the pace a little bit? Thinking, let's not make a silly spin. Let's not make a silly mistake. Let's get to the end. SUFC, I was riding on board with him just to see how he would trundle along with Trunders. And he's decided 11 laps on the mediums. He's into the pits. I wonder if that'll be a set of mediums or softs for him. Victor Mean in P8 at the moment, of course. Penalties to go. It just depends if he's got mediums. He must not have any fresh softs left.
Probably not, no, but yeah.
Tomo tiptoes off the track and gets a free second. Sorry, I need to stop. Trundles though making a move on Curly.
Oh, killing me. This is why you come to Tier 4 every Monday, 8:15. You don't get this anywhere else. All I connects that. If the safety car, if his tires start to die, that could be big. At the moment, he's okay because his pace is that good. But
this could spice it up.
It could spice it up. But obviously, this is the one race where there'll be no safety car.
You think? Well, we had 4 last week, so I think we've kind of hit our quota for the month. But
mine needs a day off.
Think of it this way: AFL into the pits from P5. But think of it this way: Mark Wilson has maybe just been holding back a little bit. You know. Keep it nice. He knows that Iconex is quicker than him. He knows that maybe Marshall, he can match his pace if he needs to. Why risk and make a mistake? And speaking of mistakes, Marshall has definitely made one because he's just lost about a second and a half on Mark Wilson. Looks to be a half spin out of turn 3. But maybe, 1.1 seconds, 1.2. That's all you need to close down. If you've been holding back a little bit, do you let the reins go? Do you try and push? Do you try and close that gap? The alternative, though, is as well, Zach has been living Iconex with the knowledge that one more pen, one more cotton gets him 3 seconds. So maybe that's him. He'll start to push again even more. So is it worth it? The mind games will be really heating up here, Lee. And there's certainly mind games going on from P8 to P11. This battle is still going on.
This battle is just... It's been there the whole race. It's just been different people. But P8 to P11 has always been there the whole race. It was Atom and who else was it? Curly earlier on and stuff, and now it's, the battle's been there the whole race. It's just been changing people.
Different people, different places, the same gap, so less than a second. 4 cars within DRS of each other, and really chasing each other down. We're going to jump back in position. I was going to say I thought there was a battle going, though. It's Topher into the pits. He pit 26 laps. He did. He pit very, very early, the end of lap 1, so he took the hards. Probably a little set of softs if he's got one spare to match the red of the Ferrari. Mean Moody looks to have had a spin on the exit of turn 9.
Baker's out. Corner. Was that a safety car? It is a safety car.
But that's an interesting retirement, it must be said. Greg,
I have my suspicions, but anyway.
That's let's just try and get a look. He just went straight on. I wonder if that's been maybe a wheel disconnect or something like that. That is the only thing I can logically think of. But now their dice are being thrown. Iconex stays out. He can go round, of course. He has managed to jump the safety car and get back in. Mark Wilson is in for a fresh set of Mearsons. Marshall on the softs gets momentarily held up by the ghost of Wuban, who's also on the soft. Trunder sticks out on the 4-lap hold.
Why not?
He's made the 2-stop work. It's been a little bit late maybe for him in an ideal scenario, but he's made it work, and it looks to be we'll have the majority of the field just zooming on to...
Iconex should be in, so I reckon they're going soft. So I think Macron should have went soft, on you. Iconex might have the same thing. No, softs do that quickly, but around here they wouldn't last long enough, I think, to have a good pace. If Iconex goes softs, unless he spins, I think he wins this race, because I reckon... Well, you know what? I'm just talking gibberish. We'll see.
You've spent too much time with me, mate. That's what it is. You're waffling. Yeah. Zach has actually played his he's I thought he got 5 seconds speed in there. I was about to just
the exact same. He's on softs. There you go.
I was about to say he's played this to perfection. He knew that he could, get round and get in front of the safety car.
Are you sure he knew?
I think he did. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He knew he could get round. and get
I wouldn't
through
say
ahead.
that all has put up, but I wouldn't say that because I mean he was ahead of the pit anyway, so he had no choice. He couldn't pit.
Ah, right. I was going to give him the benefit out and say he was going to wait and see what those behind him did.
Well, I'm the party pooper, so here we are.
Absolutely. It has worked out great for him, though. Of course, he does have this 3-second time penalty lead, but he's got Mark behind him in medium, so he's got the faster compound tyres. And then he's got Mean Moody. Now, Mercedes, if you're going to support one of the drivers, are you going to support the driver that's just going for his first race win or the driver that's challenging your World Driver Championship? I think Mean Moody, although he's going to ghost, he's not going to make it an easy sort of, he's not going to just let them pass.
One of those where when they get by, but you won't pull over. I mean, anything to help a team. Victor Mean, he is kind of lucky in a sense because everyone behind him has penalties. If he didn't have penalties, he could be in a great position right now. And actually, at the moment, he'll only be down into P. Actually, no, he'll be down into about P6 or P8 or P9. Sorry, but if he keeps P5, which he might do, you never know. It's a very good recovery.
It's all about damage limitation. Same for SJC. Exactly. He doesn't have any pens, of course. He can sort of push on. He moves into the pits. I wonder if he's maybe just going to retire it. I mean, Zach, if you are listening, you could have just pulled onto the grass and let him unlap himself. That would have been the gentlemanly thing to do.
But then also, Mark Russell might get past, so it's a...
There is that. Mean Moody does
There's two sides, yeah. There's two sides to every story.
I do hate to say, I do believe Mean Moody could have played that a little bit differently. He did see he's in 7 lap holds. That's my apology. I was reading that wrong. For some reason, my infant monkey brain read that as 1 lap. I got concussed. A fun story. While we're in the safety car, I'll tell this little story because I think it's quite funny now. But
it is quite funny.
At lunchtime, I went to get myself something to eat, and I parked my car down a little lane, and there was some bushes on the side of the driver's side of the car. And when I was coming back to get into my car, I know I'm quite short. I get the jokes in. Why are you bending down? But I bent down underneath the bushes, and I sort of forgot that when I bent down, I leant forward, and I then just opened the door and smacked myself clean in the forehead with it. So I've been feeling a little bit ill today and a little bit tired and just sore heads. I think I might have a slight concussion, so... yeah, the thinking's not been on point. It's not been great, but hopefully we've done you proud, eh? It's nice, because at least it happened the week when I've got my co-commentator back beside me, eh?
Oh, you're too kind.
Getting all soppy here. Safety car in this lap. I was going to just ask you if you thought it was going to come in a bit late, and it is going to do so. That will give us a 5-lap sprint to the end, with most of the field on new softs. Atom on 14-lap old hard. Well, if he can keep that car as wide as he can. And let's bear in mind, he doesn't have any penalties, Atom. He could be on for a great result here, in fact, if he can just keep the car going straight, not get involved in any incidents. But the real battle here is Mark Wilson and iConnect. Where's Thunders? Where's Marshall going to finish? And like you say, iConnect has caught Mark Wilson, not just napping, he's caught him absolutely dozing.
He's caught him in a deep sleep, 1.5 already. Now, we'll see, iConnect just push. He just needs to push because he won't gain too much time in the first sector, but he might have more sector, but he's already gained 310. Jesus. Here comes Thunders. He has nothing to lose. So let's see if he goes to move into turn 3. He thinks better over for now. Obviously, Mark Wilson could actually lose a few positions here. Thunders and then Marshall, and who knows, maybe even Wuban as well. So Mark Wilson, it started off I said the camera right. It could work out into his but at the moment, let's see Victor Mean going for a move on Marshall at the turn 4. He sends it down inside the break, very late. But can he make the move on the Ferrari? He does so. Victor Mean open to P4 on track at the moment. And here comes Wuban, trying to make the overtake. He goes down the inside. Wuban, there up to P5. Marshall is in 2 positions, but he's made the switch back. As he into turn 6, 7, 6. There we go. No, he's behind for now.
Marshall losing 2 positions there in 3 corners down to P6 on the fresh soft. Just, not quite coming together. Mark Wilson, 2.1 seconds adrift now of iConnect. Of course, it's been a full safety car, full yellow flags. There is no DRS at this stage. There will be, however, I believe, next lap. So that will start to kick in and take effect. This battle still raging on in the mid-pack. Wiban on for a great result here as SUFC clears the hard runner of the mighty Atom. Atom has a look down the inside. Atom has been talking about getting a bit more serious, trying to put more time in, trying to improve his racecraft. He almost pulled off a tremendous move to retake P8 and it just couldn't quite come together, probably the difference in tyres, but that's what I love to see. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love this tier for the growth and development of the driving skills, the driving talent, the personalities, and just the fun that comes with all that. And another thing that I love to see.
Because I'm here deep down.
Oh, I've been doing this longest. I've been doing this since before you were born,
SFC!
mate. He's lost it on turn 8.
Oh, no. He had a chance to just regain some points. What the penalties ahead of him? It could have been maybe even a P8 or a P7 finish, but he has no chance of points now.
Could be disaster. Maybe not the nail in the coffin, his championship title, but definitely a foot in the grave. It's definitely not going to help his chances any. Victor Mean, 6 seconds of penalties, of course, plenty of penalties behind. We'll take a little peek at that. He's going to lose out.
Still holding on at the moment, 2.6 behind. This will be very tight towards the end, I think.
Definitely. Victor Mean's going to lose out 3 or 4 positions, at least going to fall down and score single figure points. Mark Wilson currently on for the win. It could though end up only being P3, and that 10 points between 30 points for P1 of course and 20 for P3 could be the distance if Trunders makes the move. If iConnects can stretch the gap, anything can happen here, Lee, as we're just about to start the penultimate lap. 35 out of 36. It's been a mighty quick race, I must say.
I mean, compared to Singapore, I mean, for you it must feel quick. For me, it feels like a normal race. But obviously, you had to do Singapore last week, so makes sense why it would for you.
I had to do Singapore with 4 safety cars myself last week. it was an age, I must say. It stretched on.
For it, not me. So
the only good thing I can say, the 19 drivers gave a mighty good show as mighty Atom and Curly looked to have came together. I had a spin.
Mark Wilson's over now.
Mark Wilson. Oh, Atom was on for a good point. As Murphy goes for a double move into turn 4. What is going on here?
Murphy.
Bringing to you live from the CRL channel, it is F1 Cars on Ice. As 3 cars go into the corner, and not one of them wants to gain traction. Topher, Murphy, and Spider Rob.
He's just staying in it for now. It's 2.9, but he knows his time to this final corner, so we'll see what he can do to here. Do the final corner. It's down 3.1. I thought that was up. I thought I could actually shot a penalty there, but he didn't. It's 3 seconds. It's going to be so close on the final lap here.
All drivers within the top 3, all 3 of them not having a single bit of ERS. Mark Wilson does have a little bit more than iConnects, but
of course, has to use the ERS. I don't know why he's not using it.
Trunder's got very similar to Mark Wilson, so he's not going to be able to catch up too much, but he is going to have DRS on the run down to turn 4 here. Wuban still looking on for P4. He's caught up a little bit there.
Oh my god, here we go. Going into the final few corners now, only like...
Anything could happen here. All just depends on how silky smooth they can link up these last few sectors. iConnects gaining a little bit through that corner, losing a bit through the next, and the gap just hovering on the 3 seconds. This is going to be tight, folks. You really don't want to miss a single second. As Daniel saying, I'm so stressed. How do you think we feel, Daniel? But it is going to be iConnects to round the final corner, get up to the line, take the checkered flag. Mark Wilson, though, is going to cross the line and win the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of iConnects, who comes second ahead of Trunders. Wuban in P4, Marshall P5, Victor Mean takes P6. AFL and BX37 Pro drop down 8 and 9. Topher slots in 7 ahead of them. Murphy in P10. Mighty Atom picks up his 3rd point of the season. He had 1 before this race. He picks up 2 here tonight and makes it a big points haul for him, but not quite as big as the man at the top. Mark Wilson takes 30 points provisionally in Austria. get a look. I don't know if you know who got the fastest lap there, Lee. It is IconX, so he does take that bonus point. But Mark Wilson takes 30 points from this race, puts him up to 247. SUFC finishes in P12, gets a singular point, and Victorine in P6 gets 12. So Mark Wilson then, let me do some quick maths. 32 points ahead going into the next race. That has really spiced up this championship fight. You're back there. You're muted or something. You're disconnected. But Mark Wilson then takes the win from pole position. IconX from P4 to P2 ahead of Trundles rounds off our podium. Wuban from P12 all the way up to P4. Marshall P6 to P5. Victor Mean, a horrendous race, a torrential race it must be said. He couldn't have timed it any worse in this championship fight, takes P6. Tofar and AFL 7 and 8 ahead of BX37 Pro and Murphy 9 and 10. Murphy, no sorry not Murphy, Mighty Atom comes home P11 ahead of the championship battler of SUFC who lost so much in those final few laps. Curly, Spider Rob, Hasbula, Toma Tip Top, Mean Moody round off your finishers. Mean Moody, sorry, not one of the finishers. He did retire in the pits. DS Baker retires on track, causing that safety car. And Maverick, the first to retire as well, due to a DSQ for blocking the pit lane. Buddy, I think they should try and get a top 3 in. I know one man will definitely be up for speaking to us.
Yeah. I think he has to be, to be honest with you. Doesn't have a choice.
It's, yeah. It's a big, big night for Mark Wilson's championships hopes. He gains a total of 18 points over Victor Mean. A total of 29 points over SUFC. It's an almighty haul, it must be said.
Okay, I'm trying to avoid them my PlayStations being slow, so this might take about 10 million years.
I'll see if I'll do it for you very quickly, mate. Just something to mention. Your mic seems to be sort of echoey, sort of. A little bit of reverb, it must be said. Hopefully, I hope you can't hear that at home, folks. But it's the last thing I want during a little interview is people reverberating and going all over the place. Hopefully, you enjoy looking at the interesting screen that I've got on while I invite everybody. But we'll try and get our top 3 all in for a chat. Mr. IconX, and then of course MFC Trundles.
Yes, hopefully we can get them in.
Get them in for a chat, but an interesting race, it must be said. It was looking pretty standard, pretty easy for IconX to win there in the end. And then the elite safety car came out. SUFC Victor Mean have a week to forget. It'll be time to go away, reformulate the strategy, because we've got Mexico, Saudi Arabia and Belgium. 99 points only available and a 32 point lead for Mark Wilson.
So I mean, technically it could technically speaking, he could win it next week. Technically could.
I'll just touch on to that then now. I can tell you that exactly. He has joined us. It's not just our championship leader. It's not just our repetitive pole setter. It's our race winner tonight. Mark, you must be buzzing after that race. Not just a great race for yourself, but those around you losing their heads and losing out points to the battle for the lead.
My eyes hurt.
I think that's the single best summary of a race I've ever had. Those last few laps, we've seen it before. I won't bring out the past drama, but a few races this week where this season, where a late pen has cost you. It must feel nice to actually win the race based on a late pen and have a little bit of karma come back for you almost.
Well, I had 2 warnings, so I was bricking it the whole time. To be fair, I would have been happy with second. I knew that SUFC and Victor Mean, my 2 closest rivals, were falling down the pack, so I was happy with second. Even third, even if I or Marshall got me in the end, or who was it? Trunders, I think. Even if he got me, I wouldn't have minded. But yeah, I was just lucky in the end that I don't know if Connect's run out of tyres or he just made a mistake. But in the end, yeah, just nicked it.
Well, it's a brilliant result for you tonight, mate. 2:17 going into this race. Provisionally, 2:47. You look at your closest rival, SUFC, he was 3 points bedrift. He's now 32, going by my maths. Victor Mean, 37. And starting next week, we've got 3 rounds left. So, of course, there's 93 points available for the 3 wins and the 3 fastest laps. 6 points for the sprint race, of course, as well. So, to have a 32 lead out of 99, it sets you up well. I've got to say, I don't think there'll be many bookies taking any odds other than you being favourite going into the last 3 races, but anything can happen. Mexico next week then, sprint race. What's your anticipation? How are you feeling?
I mean, Mexico is one of them, and it's penalty central.
Yeah.
It's a nice track, but it's a horrible track at the same time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. It's like It's a lovely track to drive, but you look round and you got 30 seconds worth of penalties. But yeah, it's going to be fun, especially that first corner. The long drag down to the first corner is going to be fun.
It certainly will be. I must just say as well, just a little stat to throw in before I hand you over to Lee. The last 5 races you've finished no lower than second. 2 wins in 3 seconds. That is an immense run of form. Lee, I'll hand it over to you. Anything you want to ask Mark, our race winner tonight?
No, you've stolen all the questions from me, Scott, as usual.
I'm good at that, mate. You know, that's the main commentator job. No, Mark, congratulations. Another amazing race from yourself tonight. Another pole position as well to add to the tally. Another win, another podium.
I wish you got points for that.
It does. To be fair, 3 wins, 3 seconds out of 13 rounds, and 4 pole position. It is a mighty haul. So, best of luck for the remaining races. I don't think you'll need much luck, but you know, commentators cursing that. I don't want to wish you anything bad.
Oh gosh, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
We'll move on then to Mr. P2. A little background on this little man.
You can't call anyone little, Scott.
Well, he's not too far away from me. He's a relative local to me. Started off in Tier 3, dropped down to Tier 4, decided to be a reserve, and then decided, let's race tonight with no assists. And what a race to kick off with no assists tonight, Zach. You've got to be happy with that result, mate, from what I believe was P6, P4 on the grid.
P4, yeah, it was good. Sad to lose the loss. Turn 3, lost 3 on the exit, cost me a couple tenths. But I mean, P2, best result I think I've had here. But I'm happy with it.
I mean, I can give you your stats. I believe you had barely scored a point since you came down to Tier 4.
Many spins.
Yeah,
Many
good.
spins.
2 pole positions, 3 pole positions, sorry, but not many points. So a very, very confidence building on that. Of course, only a reserve for the rest of the season, but hopefully we'll see you back again. And yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. A little spin in turn 3 then. Just, that was the difference tonight.
Yeah, half spin, couple tenths. Then just couldn't get the time back.
Got wrenching at the time. I must admit, it was a solid performance. We did see you have a couple of half spins here and there, a couple of mistakes, but you recovered well, battled through well, and you seemed to kind of handle everything that was thrown at you until the track limits got the better of you. Obviously, it's not a given you'll be racing next week, but I suppose first I should ask, are you available? And if you are, how would you feel for racing at Mexico?
I'd hate it, but I would like to race there. Mexico.
Valid opinion. Very valid opinion, I think.
I've spun a lot, but I've never spun more at any other track than Mexico. It is painful.
Yes.
See, I quite like Mexico because I know.
Yeah, but you're on wheel.
But
so.
Yeah, yeah, that maybe has something to do
Just
with
stick
it.
your S section on pad, please.
Oof. Don't. Listen, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, mate. I've been through the pain. I know how you feel, but yeah, I suppose all that's left for me to say to you, Zach, congratulations, mate. Good to see you finally in for a chat with me. It was nice of you as well to message me before to tell me not to be too mean. I don't think we were.
I mean, I think I was kind of a bit harsh. You weren't.
Nah, you are the angry man of the division, it must be said. But
I'm Irish, so go away.
And now he's just promoting stereotypes. But no, congratulations once again, Zach. Lee, anything you want to add?
Thanks.
No, you stole it from me again.
Ah, well, I might as well steal the exit as well. Trundos, sadly, he's been on the podium a few times, doesn't seem to ever join us for an interview, so sadly isn't joining tonight. But we'll round it off here then, folks. Make sure to join us back next Monday. We'll be in Mexico for the highest altitude circuit on this calendar. Sprint race as well, so a little bit extra drama and entertainment for you all. Of course, Thursday night, Tier 1 and Tier 2 will take to the Austrian Alps. 7:30 and 8:30 respectively. For those, you can catch Mr. Jamie Indigo and Steban. I can never mind if it's Steban or Steban. And I do apologise to the two of them for getting them mixed up. They'll be taking the comms box in Tier 1. Mr. Jonathan, Cool Dude Boy, and our very own Tier 4 driver, Spyro Rob, in the comms box for Tier 2. Make sure to give them lots of love. I've been CRL Freefall, joined by the lovely Leroy. Good to have you back once again, mate.
Thank you.
And hopefully you're back next week.
I will be.
Brilliant stuff. Well, we'll not keep you any further. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And big shout out to our number one fan celebrating tonight, Danielle. I can't wait to hear the ruckus in the Wilson household tonight. It'll be absolute pandemonium after last week. So big shout out to her. Thank you all very much.